Yeah.
Did you just leave Mr. Baker?
All right, I have 30 seconds till 6. We're going to start the meeting. I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, August 18 meeting of the Mound Planning Commission. This is a rescheduled / special meeting. Roll call, please. Katie. Or Sarah.
Planning Commission member, City Council Liaison Kathy McEnany.
Here.
Planning Commission member Nick Rosner.
Here.
Planning Commission member Samantha Wecker.
Here.
Planning Commission member Kristen Young. Here. Planning Commission Chair David Good.
Present. Do you want to introduce folks before we go forward?
I would be happy to.
Great.
We have some new faces. Some of you already know, but I'll reintroduce. This is Kate Vogt. Kate's been with us and still comes to work every day, thank heavens. Joined us in spring. She's our new permit and administrative guru for parks, and public works and planning. So she's one of the first faces that you see when you come into City Hall. Pretty much a Jack and Jill of all trade. We stole her from the city of Chanhassen, and we're thrilled to have her. So thank you. And she's just a joy to be around and very, very talented. Our second newest person is Johnny Menhemet. We took him from the city of Stillwater, and he is our new city planner. That position was formerly occupied in a different frame by Andy Drilling as code enforcement officer or field officer, and so it's been kind of restructured that really the bread and butter is going to be planning and zoning and code, but more focusing on the land use and the zoning type of activities. You've been with us now how long? Just about 10 weeks.
Wow.
Johnny just returned from California, just got married, so he's a newlywed. So he even flew in late last night and came to our meeting tonight. And he's doing a very, very nice job meeting with people, really helping me take some stuff off my plate, and really, I think, taking the bull by the horns on code enforcement, and has really come forth with some new policies, some new procedures, getting back to people. So we're really thrilled because we know that that was a council and planning commission really top priority. So he's also helping with building permits, which is lovely, and land use. So you may see him here sometimes instead of me. Rita's here, as always I see, and
I'm new face.
yeah, she's one of my favorite faces, and also Mia from Hoisington Kobler, who's been here before, and we all cooperate on plans and report writing, and so you kind of have the full team together here because we all did a little bit of a lot. And Johnny wanted to join us, even though he's sleep deprived, because he wanted to meet planning commission and get his feet wet. So I thank him for that. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you have in your packet the agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to it? Sarah tells me there are no amendments. Hearing no comments, Chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as distributed.
Motion to approve the agenda?
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. You also have in your packet minutes of the June 2, 2026 regular meeting of the commission. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion to approve minutes of the June 2, 2026 regular meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes as distributed.
We have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Board of Adjustment and Appeals, planning case 26-04. I'm not going to read the paragraph. Mia, are you presenting this?
I am.
All right.
Thank you, just as a safety.
Oh, wonderful.
For the sake of my computer.
Thank you.
All right.
Chair Good, Commissioners, I'm Mia Colorado-Mansfield, Consulting Planner with HKGI. I will be presenting on the substantial use determination and conditional use permit at 4851 Shoreline Drive. So this site is located on Shoreline Drive. It's a through lot, so it has access via Shoreline Drive as well as Bartlett Boulevard. It is approximately 28,000 square feet. And there's a single building with 2 units currently on the site. Each unit is about 6,300 square feet. The requests and proposals in front of you today are for uses on the west unit. The east unit is will be used by the owner of the property for an office space as well as personal storage. The requests before you tonight are for a substantial use determination and a conditional use permit. The proposal is for a boat and marine sales and service operation. So the substantial use determination is for the boat service portion of that use. Boat and marine sales is a conditional use allowed in this zone, so that's what the conditional use permit is for. And the service piece of it is not something that is listed in the code, and so that's what the substantial use determination is for. This site is guided mixed use under the comprehensive plan, which means that it is suitable for a variety of uses, including commercial uses. This designation is also meant to allow for some flexibility of uses so that property owners can find the appropriate uses for their site and work within the different site characteristics that are present on the property. It is zoned mixed-use corridor, so Mound has 2 mixed-use zoning districts. One is mixed-use downtown and one's mixed-use corridor. The corridor district allows for, again, retail, service, offices, different commercial uses, civic institutional uses, so a wide range of uses, and the property is currently vacant today. So under the Mound Code, Planning Commission and City Council are allowed to determine whether a proposed use is substantially similar to another use that already exists in the code. And so the applicant is proposing that the boat and marine maintenance and service component of their use is substantially similar to that of automobile repair minor, which is a permitted use in the mixed-use corridor district. The definition for automobile repair minor is up here. It's a bit of a tongue twister to read that all out loud, so I will let you look at that. Just to note that there are additional proposed activities that the applicant is providing a list of in your packet and up on the screen. This isn't the sort of final list of maintenance activities, but they are proposing that they will not do any of the activities listed on the right-hand side of the screen, and those would be some of the uses that would fall under the major category of repair. So they're saying they will not do any of those sort of larger repair items on these as part of the boat and marine servicing that they do. So this brings us to the conditional use permit. The request for the conditional use permit is for boat and marine sales as well as open lot sales. Both of these uses are conditional uses in the mixed use corridor district in the code today. The applicant is also proposing accessory retail sales of complementary items such as life jackets, water sports equipment, things that go along with boat and marine sales and activities. And retail general is an allowed use in the mixed use corridor. There are no use-specific standards for either boat marine sales or open lot sales in the code, so there's no specific requirements that are laid out in the code for us to evaluate other than the general requirements that go along with uses. So parking Staff determined that there are 12 minimum parking spaces required for this use, and this is accounting for both the use on the east side as well as the west side. So that office use in the east side of the building, and then these uses that we're looking at for boat and marine sales on the west side of the building. And so using the minimum requirements in the code, we determined that 12 spaces are required, and we worked with the applicant. Originally, they were proposing 11 spaces, and that has been adjusted to reflect this requirement, and so there are now 12 spaces proposed. This is the updated information. I'm not sure which one was in the packet, so it might look slightly different. There are 7 customer spaces that are identified on the front, accessed via Shoreline Drive, including one ADA accessible space. And there are 5 employee parking spaces located in the rear part of the building, along with 9 boat and trailer parking spaces. It should be noted that spaces that count towards the minimum required amount of parking spaces cannot be used for storage. So the 9 boat and trailer spaces cannot be counted towards that 12 parking space minimum. So with the 5 in the rear and the 7 in the front, that is 12 parking spaces. And then the boat spaces are just additional to help with the use on the site. The applicant has stated that these spaces will not be used for long-term storage. They'll be used for temporary storage and staging of boats that are being picked up or dropped off for servicing, as well as for the temporary storage of inventory for sale on the site. There is an existing 6-foot cedar fence along the west side of the property in the rear. It screens the boat parking area from the adjacent property that exists today and will remain in place. Just above that, there's a tree and a building, so screening is less important there. The applicant also noted that they would like to put up a sign on their building for their business. This is permitted. There are standards for signage, so the applicant will have to meet the signage code requirements when they are ready to propose a sign and get the appropriate permit for that. The applicant also noted that there will be engine testing relating to their service and maintenance, and this does produce noise. They said that noise is measured at around 70 to 80 decibels when within 1 to 2 meters of the inboard engine when being tested, and this drops down to 60 decibels or less when you are 50 feet or more from the source. They also note that the service will be in indoor service bays within the building, and that will help minimize noise, dust, odor, and other implications from the service that they are doing. The application was posted and sent to agencies for review, and letters were sent out to adjacent properties notifying them that this application was under review. No public comments were received at the time of the packet, and both the fire department and the DNR responded that they had no concerns about this application. So after discussing, we would ask you, as the Planning Commission, to provide a recommendation about whether the proposed use of boat and marine service and maintenance is substantially similar or not substantially similar to the allowed use of automobile repair minor. And we would also ask you to consider the requested conditional use permit and make a recommendation to City Council whether to approve the permit with conditions and findings of fact in the packet, or to deny the permit, again, with findings of fact, or table the request and ask for more information. Thank you.
Okay, questions for Mia?
Is this going to be a boat showroom where they're selling boats? Or is it just repair?
It'll be sales as well, so it's showroom.
How many boats do you think will be in the showroom at any time?
That is a question for the applicant.
And what kind of boats? Is that a question for the applicants?
Yes.
More questions for Mia?
What's the history of substantial use in Mound? What, like, have we done this before, and is this in line?
Gonna turn to Sarah and Rita for this question.
Yeah, we've used
Before your
this,
time.
this is a process that went into the code a handful of years ago, following some changes to the language that was made to, I would say, maybe tighten up use evaluation.
Okay.
The code has language that says only those uses listed in the use tables, either residential or commercial, specific uses have to be listed either as permitted or conditional, or they're not allowed.
Okay.
And so, and the exemptions to that is, number one, unless a substantial use determination is made, and it is determined that the use that's being proposed is similar to something that we already have, or an applicant or an interested person would need to request what's called a text amendment, and a text amendment is not for a site, it's for the entire district. So that language went in there a handful of years ago, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, I know, I was,
Yeah,
it went in intentionally to try and make sure that staff wasn't making the substantial use determinations, that it was a public.
yeah, but there was process, and so
And
it
then,
kept,
I guess the only other comment I'd make is that, it's slightly different, but just down the street, we made another for the, I can't think of.
the bright spot.
The wave, the radio and the boat. We actually
Oh.
made another determination that was,
Yep.
that what they do with the boat repair with the
Uh-huh.
sound equipment was also automotive minor.
Oh, okay.
So this
Similar.
actually.
Very similar, okay.
This specific use has been deemed to be similar in the past, but we can't do it because it's slightly different. This one has a little bit more repair to it than the other one.
They do equipment too.
Okay.
primarily.
Yeah, they do, but it's still, we have
Electronics.
done this just in the last 3-4 years.
And as a side note, being the second substantial similarity, is this worth amending?
That, I actually was just thinking that as,
Okay.
right before I
That-
said that, I was
okay.
like, if we think this is really legit, maybe we can just do that. But we would do that by a separate housekeeping thing, you can't do it wrapped into this.
Okay, which
Be
makes
like a-
sense.
Yeah, housekeeping amendment as we do other zoning code updates.
And we've used this process a handful of times.
Okay, great.
Over the course of the years.
And the property on the other side of the fence is commercial?
Yes.
I know we're not looking at heavy automotive repair, but just so I know, where is heavy automotive repair in Mound allowed?
Well, technically, you know, hey, go for it.
I believe that heavy is allowed by a conditional use permit, but we're not seeking repair as part of the conditional use permit, just the minor as substantial use.
Makes sense.
Because automotive repair minor is allowed permitted,
Mixed use.
and major is CUP.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay, further questions from Mia? I'm assuming then in the material we're considering tonight, we're talking about 12 parking spaces for parking and 9 boat
Correct.
spaces, correct?
Yes.
We're also talking about a requirement that the applicant adhere to the signage rules and regulations of the city, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Further questions from Mia? Discussion amongst the commission?
I might add that they did present their concept presentation to the council, and we were all in total support of it, adding a great entrance into Mound, and it fits nicely with the marina right across the street. And I don't think there were many issues you were really dealing with, which I see no conditions, so.
I tend to agree. I think it's a place I care a lot about, being right where you drive into the city on
Yeah.
Shoreline. It seems like a great fit. It seems like substantially similar to me is an easy bar.
Yeah.
I'd be for it.
Further comments or discussion?
I'm not opposed to it, but I do have some questions for
Fire away.
this. I'm just curious, and again, this might be more
Or do you
for,
want to address them to the applicant?
Yeah, I think it would be more for the applicant than for Mia.
Okay, would somebody
And the
from,
commission itself.
somebody from the applicant pool like to come forward?
There's plenty of you.
Okay, and
To
our
show her
custom-
how to advance.
Yeah, if you,
Our custom is that you give your name and your address, please.
Okay. What am I?
or we can advance it forward,
Okay.
yeah. It's just,
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Katie Stewart. This is my husband, Rob Stewart. We live at 4680 Palmer Court in Excelsior. We have our two kids, Tyler and Ava, with us tonight, and we also have Brody. He's going to be our service manager slash sales manager. And then Jan, she's the owner of the building. So together, we've all been working hard to hopefully make this happen, and Sarah and everybody's been so helpful. So thank you all for having us here, and
do you
so,
want to
yes.
go closer to the microphone?
Okay.
Because it's getting recorded.
Sure,
Just, I know it's a weird thing. but-
yeah.
Are we going to take questions? Is that what
Yeah,
we're
do you
doing?
want to start with
Yeah,
that?
I have
or-
just
okay.
a few questions,
Okay.
and it's really mostly for my own education because I don't know much about marina repair. I probably should, I have a boat, but I don't get involved with it. But my question is, well, one, is the facility going to be open year-round, or do you anticipate doing any type of this maintenance like in the winter, or will it all just be mostly in the summertime?
The majority of it will be spring, summer, fall. There will be potentially some activities that happen during the winter. Sometimes, things like extra accessories are added onto boats, like thrusters or, simple repairs that can be done that don't affect the winterization of a boat.
Right.
So it's not gonna be as active as the other three seasons, but yes, there'll be some activity.
And that was my
in winter.
assumption, because most
Yeah.
people winterize their boats, so I assume there's not a lot of activity.
Yeah.
I think the only concern that I have, and I just want to, again, make sure I understand is, and I know this was sent out to residents in the area who live within 350 feet away, and nobody chimed in. And I do appreciate the details about the noise. I guess my only concern is, again, if all this work is being done in the summer, I just want to make sure there's not, might be warm in this area, you have the doors open, some of that noise can be heard to some of those residents. So that's the only concern I have. And again, I don't know much about the audios or the decibel side of it or anything. So I just want to make sure that we're really within a range where that if the doors in this facility are open and repairs are happening in the summer, that noise isn't transmitting out to the homes or the residents who live within that area.
Yes, that's definitely understandable, and that's a good question. These boats, well, let me back up. We are the new Centurion and Supreme dealer in the Twin Cities. So they're high-performance towboats centered around water sports and family, boating activities. But these particular boats are all equipped with what they call a silent stinger. So they're made to be way more quiet than what you might hear on an outboard. And you guys feel free to chime in. They're more experts at this than I am, but they're generally pretty quiet boats. When you're out on the water, like running, moving, whatever, you can still have conversations. They're not super loud and bothersome. Not like some boats with giant mufflers and, some boats are made to be loud on purpose. So that's not the situation here, but and when they are running for testing or whatever, they're usually quick, like just a minute or two sessions where the engine is running and then they get shut off really quickly. So it's not a situation where they'll be running.
Okay. Yeah,
So
you're just
long
firing it up to
periods
see if
at-
it's gonna hold the start.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I did some research on, starting a boat, for the distance that we are, how much quieter is that gonna be?
Yeah.
And what I found is at the end of our lot, if the boat is at around 80, at the end of the lot, it would be like 60 dB. And to give a reference to that, 60 dB would be our conversation right here.
Okay.
70 dB is your vacuum cleaner running. And then 80 dB is like the boat, you're standing right next to it at the start. And I think it actually starts at 80, comes down a little after it starts, gets more of a muffled sound. So it probably would even be less. So I would think all those neighbors, the one who's directly behind us, we have a fence to go through,
Yep.
which should cut down a little bit. And then the neighbor right behind has a pretty solid tree line, because when we were talking to him, I couldn't even see our building based on his driveway. And then the ones that,
And you did go out and speak to them?
yes, and we
Okay.
talked to him.
All right.
And he was really hoping his kids would have bought a boat that we're selling.
Yeah, and again, no, they didn't respond, so, I mean, I'm assuming they didn't have
Yeah.
any concerns, but.
And then he was the they were the closest neighbors. And after that, they actually get a little further, so I would think it would be quieter than this conversation here.
Okay. All right. And again, that was really my only question. And again, it was really for my own understanding to, I appreciated the kind of little research you did put in here on the decibel side. I'm just not an expert in that, so.
Yeah,
I just have a
didn't know
really
what the
loud boat,
reference-
so all I could envision
Yep.
was like
Yep.
that thing cranking around, so,
We
thank
kinda-
you.
I anticipated that. Being
Thank
able
you.
to face the neighbors, so.
Further questions for the applicant?
So it sounds as though you're going to represent two major lines of boats? Is
They
that-
make two lines of boats.
Oh.
Yeah, one company.
Owned by the same
one
company,
company,
two
yeah.
brands,
Miles.
yes.
Oh, okay. So are you going to be certified to repair other types of boats?
Our mechanics will be certified to handle all types of
Oh, okay.
motors generally. And then for ours specifically, they get extra certification to deal specifically with our motors. So, but yes, depending on who we have working there, there could be potential for other
Sure.
opportunities, I guess, there. But yeah, primarily it will just be the inboard motors. Mhm.
And so that would be the brand that you're going to have as inventory for display and
Yes, yeah, let me click through here, we can, so, as I mentioned, we're the new Centurion and Supreme dealer in the Twin Cities. Our two kids and us as a family have been sponsored, because they're pro wake surfers, so, they've been sponsored by the brand, and we've been ambassadors since 2019. So we were working with the previous dealer that was selling these brands up until this point, and then they've asked us to take the brand forward from this point. So Centurion and Supreme are both owned by Correct Craft, which is a very large company. They own a lot of brands, including Nautique, which is one that a lot of people heard of. Nautique just had their 100th anniversary, and Centurion just had their 50th anniversary. So they're well-established brands, highly regarded as, premium performance boats. So we wanted to talk a bit tonight about the fact that we really aren't here to just sell boats. Our mission as a family, because we've been so involved in water sports, and these guys are world champions, we're really immersed in the water sports community. We have been blessed immensely just by opportunities that have come to us by being involved in this sport, and all the people we've met around the world. And we feel really passionate that, we don't want to just sell boats. We want to make this a family community where we're preparing our customers to be good citizens on the water, and, to be prepared and educated. And, one or two people doing the wrong thing can make a bad example for everybody. So we really want to focus on the education piece. When we sell a boat to a customer, we think they shouldn't just get a set of keys when they buy a boat. There is some education that should happen along with that. So again, we're really committed to, contributing positively to the community, and bringing a, responsible and safe environment. So, one of the ways we have done that the last few years, we've contributed our time and energy to help support the Midwest Wake Surf Association and the Water Sports Industry Association. They've helped set standards for, responsible boating. And then, as you probably know, Minnetonka has even additional rules that are even more, than what the industry standard is. So these guys have volunteered their time to help educate, even lawmakers we've had out to really understand what's involved in the sport and those sorts of things. So they, I think, have been positive role models in the community. In fact, last summer, Tyler and Ava and their friend Sam approached the Water Patrol with the idea of creating a video focused on, being safe and responsible on the water. So they actually were very receptive to the idea, and they created this video. It's about 7 minutes long. I'm not sure you want to watch it tonight, but it is kind of a good representation of what they kind of stand for and the messages that we want to try to get across. So again, we would try to use our platform as a dealership to continue to educate the community. Okay, so this stuff has really all been covered. Thank you that was very thorough. Let's see, the building as it is, we don't really see that we're gonna need to make any changes to it. It's basically gonna meet our needs just as is, so that was pretty appealing to us. So another thing we could touch on is these are high performance, high ticket items. So there could be a nice benefit to the community. I think last meeting Kathy mentioned kind of just enhancing the image of Mound and what we could bring to the table there. And at the same time, having a pretty minimal impact on the neighborhood with the way that will be set up. And we're not a high traffic situation here. Most people start their purchase research online, and most people are coming in with an appointment. So it's, there's not going to be a huge volume of traffic coming in and out every day. So, hopefully we'll be not intrusive to the neighborhood, so.
Do you foresee the majority of the employment being with your family, or would you broaden that out to any other part-time positions in the summer to help, or?
Initially, since we're a brand new startup, we're gonna keep things small to get rolling, but we'll have Brody and then a mechanic or two. That'll be it to start. Potentially over time, we could add some more. We're running lean and mean to get going, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd just like to say, we're not new to community. Our goal is to try to see that area, that corner cleaned up a little bit. We started Gear West 35 years ago, and Long Lake was not much of a thing, and we moved around 5 times and grew from my husband and I to Gear West, how it is now next to the Red Rooster.
Gear West in Orono?
In Long
The
Lake.
bike shop, or the bike shop, Gear
Ski and
West.
run store. So we started that from scratch, and I'm a big proponent of of community activities, and I would love to see this corner have a little jazz to it, whether it's just flowers or anything else to make it just appealing. And I think I was passionate about our sports, and that's what drove us, and you're passionate about your sports, and so it's a really nice mix, and I hope to add a little color to it.
Yeah, Gear West is a fantastic facility. You guys have fixed all my
It
bikes.
took 33 years.
It's just the way that building is laid out.
Yeah,
with
it
the
was a
different
lot of
focuses
fun.
on the bikes and the ski. I'm there all the time. You guys, like I said, you guys fix my bikes. And I think that's a great store. So I think if you have a vision to do something similar here, then I think that's very welcoming.
Yeah, whenever we built Gear West, we're given the square, but I mean, I'd just like to see, hopefully by raising up just the cleanliness and the organization and trying to keep
Right.
everything trim and neat, that our neighbors will follow, specifically the car place. So, but.
Okay, further comments from the applicants?
I think, is there anything else you can think of that hasn't been,
Oh, I think we did it all.
yeah?
Okay, questions for the applicants?
Thank you.
Hearing none, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
you. It's nice to see you again.
Appreciate it.
Okay, further discussion amongst the commission.
I
Very-
have none. My questions were answered. Thank you.
I'm good, and I wish you great luck and success.
Okay, on page 7 and 8 of the agenda, you will note that we have two separate considerations. One is the substantial use determination with two findings, and staff is recommending that the commission approve the substantial use determination, forwarding that recommendation to the city council. Chair would entertain a motion.
I move that on planning case 2604, that the planning commission recommend approval of the substantial use determination and the two findings of fact on page 7 and 8.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. The second action we need addresses the conditional use permit with 11 conditions and 3 findings. Staff is also recommending approval of the conditional use permit. Chair would entertain a motion.
I move that the planning commission recommend approval of the CUP on page 8 for planning case 2604 with the 11 conditions and 3 findings of fact.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. These will go forward to the city council, and do you know when they're going to be
I do.
addressed?
We have notice for the public hearing for a week from tonight. That'll be the public hearing for the conditional use permit for the boat sales and also the outdoor open lot activities, in addition to the substantial use determination, 6 o'clock. It is a very full meeting agenda, so I think we're going to try and do some meeting management and try and get this earlier on in the meeting, because we could have a pretty full agenda next Tuesday, but the goal was, I think, and we talked about this at the council intros, we wanted to help meet your needs to get you done before Labor Day. That was kind of the goal. So, assuming that everything went well tonight, we did go ahead and notice the public hearing. It's been published, and we mailed concurrently the mailing list within 350 feet from the site to include both tonight's activities and the council's activities on the 25th, including the public hearing, and mailed that 10 days ahead. So we'll see you next week.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you folks for coming. You're welcome to
you.
stay for the rest of the meeting if you want to, or you may leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Okay, moving on. Planning case 26-05, review, discussion, and recommendations, amendments to City Code, Chapter 129, zoning related to cannabis regulations for consistency with the new statute regulations that go into effect Jan 1, 27. And fire away, Sarah.
Good evening, Chair, good members of the Planning Commission. I'm Sarah Smith. I'm the Development Director. For review, consideration, and recommendation by the Planning Commission a proposed ordinance to amend the current regulations related to cannabis that are in the zoning ordinance are proposed to be amended. This ordinance was prepared by the city attorney, and it's in response to legislative changes that were made during the 2026 session for the cannabis regulations, and these rules go into effect starting Jan 1, 2027. So the ordinance has been prepared for review and recommendation. That's required by the ordinance in our city code. With regards to the specifics of the ordinance, they reflect exactly what's in state statute, and so these changes will put Mound's ordinance into proper form when the new regulations go into effect next January. Process-wise, any amendment to the zoning ordinance has to come before the planning commission for review and recommendation before a public hearing is scheduled by the city council. Before that is set, we also have to publish notice and post notice not less than 10 days prior to the scheduled public hearing. In this case, we just want to make sure that we have this in good order and in place before the new law goes into effect before the beginning of the year. So this is, with respect to somewhat of a housekeeping matter. We have to do the regulations because they were changed at the state, and we want to get them into our code in a timely fashion. So we went ahead and got this prepared and into your very capable hands this evening. So following a recommendation, if received from the planning commission, we would go ahead and get ready to schedule a public hearing for the city council at an upcoming meeting date yet to be determined.
Questions for Sarah?
I have a question. Does this affect the buffers that we put in place at all?
No, not to my knowledge. Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
And is this just a shift in like how the definitions in state law are coming up? Are we expecting material changes to the types of businesses that will now be allowed or disallowed?
I'm not in a position to comment on that.
So-
I would say that this is just exactly following up the changes that were made in state law that now
see.
have to filter down into the local ordinance. And, you know, we were a little ahead even when we did our stuff because we wanted to have stuff in place. So this just brings us consistent with changes that were recently made by the legislature.
Have we had any applications for cannabis businesses?
We've had a lot of inquiries, but I do not know that we have received a formal license, or I think they're called registration. Yeah, registration. I don't know if we've actually received a formal request for a registration thus far, but we are getting inquiries on a very regular basis.
I know that the buffer zones changed after they came to us, yes? Were they the same as we approved them?
We might have expanded them a little bit, but for the most part, we
Okay.
kept them the same.
It was expand. If there was anything, it was expansion, not contraction.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and one thing that we've also done is to act as an aid is our team, led by Hoisington, we put together some buffer maps to help provide, I think, really good user-friendly information when people have questions about what's in, what's out. You know, because seeing something graphically is a lot simpler than seeing, you know, oh, it's 500 feet from X. And so it's about 99% done and we've used it, but we do, I think, plan on getting that posted publicly when we're ready.
The inquiries, do we know where they were inquiring about?
Some, they're all over the place. Some are general, some are saying, I'm looking for a spot. Some have said, does this spot, is it in, is it out? Some are, I'm looking for something, but, you know, we provide the ordinance, we provide the requirements, we provide the licensing ordinance, and sometimes they reach back to us and sometimes they don't. And we only have one registration, only one here, based on our population. But we are contacted regularly.
Great, thank you.
Are you aware of that shop that was going to be opening down by the Mist? It looked like they were going to open, but can anybody open before the license or the law goes into effect?
No, so they would not be able to open and operate until the point in time at which they have converted their license pre-approval from OCM into a license. And they cannot do that until they have passed their building and fire inspections in addition to getting local land use approvals. So
That's
we
interesting,
would
because
see
there has
them-
been no commotion at
We
the
would see
building.
a conditional use permit application arrive prior to telling OCM that they have received the land use approvals they need to convert their pre-approval into their license. At the point in time at which they then get their OCM license, they would come to our clerk to get the registration.
Okay.
But the mist
So-
isn't a mound, is it?
It isn't in Mound,
That's
but
spring
I,
park, isn't it?
you know everything, so I thought maybe you've heard of, I was just curious why nothing's happening, but understanding this and your description just now, Johnny, they probably can't start yet, but it looks like they're still,
They're opening around.
They
Yeah,
are.
there was one that opened. in
Yeah, there's
Spring Park.
one
The joint opened right
kind
down
of
the
all
road.
around. But we just,
Right down the
nobody's
road.
picked
Oh,
this
really?
yet.
Yeah.
Or they haven't found the right spot, or whatever their type of business is, but we receive inquiries on a regular basis.
And that was, I mean, I'm glad you asked that question too, because I was kind of curious if you knew what the substance of the inquiries were, because, I mean, it was a while ago that we looked at those maps and did that stuff, and my initial concern was, are people gonna be zoned out?
Right.
And feel like they just can't find the ideal retail spot to put it in. But, so I was just curious if some of that was coming up in the inquiries. My assumption would be, where can I open?
I'm sure a lot of them maybe papered many cities, I think some of them
Right.
maybe were generic, maybe some of them were individual. Some are phone, some are email, but, we provide the information and, tell them to reach back to us if they need it, and also provide, because there's a step here, but there's also a step at the state that
Yeah.
you have to have, certain documentation before you can start. And then there's always the building part and then the
Right.
licensure part, so. But,
I believe our biggest driver was just making sure that we had the language set up to align with the state once this is
Yeah,
active, which
yeah.
we have in this document that's been
Yep,
provided.
yep, and this was prepared by the city attorney, and our team reviewed it too, so.
So the inquiries are just icing on the cake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
Okay.
yep. And they've been coming for quite a while. I think ever since, we did ours summer of 2024, I think,
Yeah.
is when we did
Yeah.
our rules.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, so,
It was a slow start.
yes, it
of the
was.
actual
Yep,
process.
yeah, yeah, we were a little ahead, but better a little ahead than behind.
yeah.
Anyway, but thank you, so thank you for your kind consideration.
And just for my knowledge, can cannabis retail be approved administratively, or would it come to us?
It requires conditional use permit.
Okay.
The only,
Oh, I don't know. Did you look at our, I
is this
don't,
low potency or adult use? Adult
don't-
use retail, I believe.
you can pop up we have many different types.
Sure.
It may be permitted by right
I
in,
thought that was right.
in just the MUD
Yeah.
district.
Okay.
Yes, so my apologies. It is listed as permitted in the mixed-use downtown zoning district.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Further questions for Sarah?
Thank you.
Discussion amongst the commission?
Seems like a super straightforward housekeeping item to me.
Yeah.
Okay, hearing none, we do have a staff recommendation that the planning commission recommend approval of the proposed ordinance amending Mound City Code, Chapter 129. Chair would entertain a motion.
Motion that the planning commission recommend approval of the proposed ordinance changes on pages 30 through 33 for planning case 2605.
We have a
I'll
motion.
second.
We have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving right along. City Council Liaison, Kath.
Well, as you can imagine, our meetings have been bombarded with infrastructure, water, and traffic. So I don't know how often you guys follow the social media or the website, but if you would just give me a moment here to, anybody listening, that the main meetings that everybody should come to understand the next steps in this water treatment plant are August 25th. And the council will be receiving the design review for the water filtration system. And then at that point, if we approve of it, it'll be sent, we've already seen many plans, but if we approve of this, it'll be sent out for bid. And then on October 13th, another important meeting, if sent for bids, the council will review the submitted bids and vote if we should accept one of the bids. And you know, by law, we have to accept the lowest bid. But we don't know what that's going to be. We're hoping it'll be within that 42 million slot. And it sounds like they are feeling pretty comfortable with that. So, and then the main one that's really important is October 27th. If we pass and we get the actual quote back from whoever we decide to build, staff will present the updated utility rate study based on what that bid came in at, so they can make an accurate assessment of what our water bills will look like. And so that'll be, I think, an important meeting for a lot of the residents to listen. You know, we've done such a great job getting all of this transparency and information out there. And, you know, we're all on social media. It's just shocking that, you know, everybody got a newsletter delivered to their mailbox, and people are still like, why do we have dirty water? Are they ever gonna fix it? And it's like, we've been dealing with this for 4 years and talk about it almost every meeting. So this will be a great final push to hopefully move down the path of getting clean water. And I will mention, which I mention in every meeting, just to manage everybody's expectations, that once, you know, if we get everything approved, once the building is, or the filtration system is built, it will be another 2 years before we see any kind of water relief. Again, I just, it's not a flipping of the switch thing. And that is all I've got, unless anybody has questions.
Okay, questions for Cav?
What about the infrastructure? Is there a plan to have all of the, you know, pipes and stuff updated
Yeah,
so
that's
that
a good
the filtration
question.
works?
I did talk to Jesse today because I knew that there'd be questions about it. And I wanted to get an update too, even though we get pretty regular updates. But to let you know, it is still on track, the infrastructure on Commerce. And we were all, I think at one point, hoping it would be finished before school, but that is not going to happen. Once we, if you want, I can go through kind of the next stages, if you want to hear. They're still tracking to finish within the original phase timeframe that they put out, you know, a couple of years ago. And Mound's work will continue to keep the southbound traffic only for a portion of Commerce until we're finished with that. And then, once we're finished with that, the county will come in and deal with the crosswalk area up by, you know, Dakota Junction area. And at that point, they'll be closing both sides of the road from, it looks like, 125 up to OLL and the Minnetonka Flats. So that'll be another, you know, challenging period, especially with school going on. So we'll just have to kind of keep seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, because it will get done sooner or later. So early September, they're going to expand the work into stage 1, maintaining just the one lane on southbound. Mid-September, they're going to be paving all the patches and fully reopen Surfside lane southbound. Then mid-September, mid to late September, they'll be paving stage 2 areas. Then the county will start with their full closure once this happens. 2 lanes, again, from 125 to OLL will be closed. And then October, that's when the county and city projects will be incongruent, working together on stage 1. So this could very well go into November.
Do we know if there were any impacts to those businesses? I mean, I know Surfside was shut down. Did it impact the farmer's market traffic that we normally see? Like, were we tracking to see if, participation counts were down? I mean, not that we can do anything
Yeah.
to correct it at this point in time, but I always just think, what can we learn from and, maybe hope to mitigate in the future?
Well, I know I've talked to most of the impacted businesses on Commerce. Obviously, Dan at Surfside has really had to endure a loss in profitability.
Right.
But he has such a strong customer base that they've really been working overtime to be ordering out, to still be going.
Sure.
But, Dan has been frustrated, and I probably get 2 or 3 calls a week from him, and I run down there. Then Christina will run down there, and we all try to talk him off the ledge. And we're all completely empathetic, because obviously he was missing out on the biggest months of his season, especially over Spirit of Lakes,
Right.
losing all that foot traffic. But, he's really been a trooper. West Edge Auto right now that looks like a head-on collision waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Across from Bay Rentals, they have about this much space, but he hasn't lost any business.
He hasn't.
No, I talked to Darren at the ice cream shop. It's been a rough summer for him, especially once they moved it all up there, but now that they've got all the cement and everything, and they have that nice little patio area for him, so things are starting to pick up again.
Do we know if were there any accidents or anything that happened during that? Again, just really looking at,
Yeah.
what disruption did this cause?
Well, everybody's trying to sneak through.
Yeah.
Every day I want to, I'm looking both ways, I'm like, I can't do that, I'll get busted. She's on the council. So I've never considered it. Well, no, that's a lie. I have considered it, but I would never do it. And it's really easy, if it's 6 in the morning and there's
know.
literally nobody out there.
There was
You know,
one
to
day
sneak
too,
down
I
there,
was
just
like,
go to the
I think I
Gillespie
could
Center.
chance it, I can get through there, and it was like a dirt road, and I was like, it's
I
only
know.
half a block, but then I was like, I can't do that.
My kid who works at Bay Rentals, he's like, I go, how'd you get home so fast? And he goes, I go, don't you ever do that again. People know you're my son. It's like, so he's never done it since, but he did get away with that one time. Also, I talked to the Gillespie Center. It's definitely impacted them a little bit because it has been tough to get in there, but they're still moving along pretty well. So, I think just all of us really understanding the impact this has had on mostly their profitability,
Right.
I think goes a long way. And not that this helps any of them, but the only thing we can look forward to soon is clean drinking water. And the
Right.
only way to get that was through this area.
Yeah.
So is that the only strip that needs updating?
That's where the main infrastructure, and of course, it was on Dan's side of the street, Surfside side of the street, so that was kind of rough. But again, it will be closed when they start finishing up the trail signage, or the trail bike signage. That might be another little bit of a temporary nightmare. But all the West Edge folks, they had so much frustration going on, and I understand it, but it's over and done with, and they've all gone back to life, and we got to listen to them for many council meetings, and they're all back feeling good that they endured it as well.
Okay, further questions for Kath? Anything else?
No, that's.
Thank you. Sarah, anything from you?
I'm short and brief. We had our first community engagement booth at Spirit of the Lakes. And a lot of our team was there, and it was a really, really fun event. It was warm. We also did community engagement number 2 at Music in the Park. We spent a lot more time, I think, visiting with people, and taking cards out because it was lovely, lovely evening, but it was windy. And so we didn't have time to go through things, and we're doing a third event at Mound Farmers Market and more. We think it's gonna be the 12th or the 13th. It's coming up. We've really enjoyed those, cause we're getting all kinds of fun comments, and it's nice to get out there. People like seeing staff and the city out there and getting ahead of the project. And so it's been a really good kickoff event. We're also bringing forward, I think, to the council for consideration, a grant that Met Council's out there to help preparation on 2050 plans. And so we're gonna request some monies to help us with our plan update. As a reminder, we need to be done by December 31st, 2028. And actually, if we're done earlier, there's an opportunity that we can get some additional monies. Also remember that we have to have a 6-month out there period. So once our plan is done, we have to send it out for comments for 6 months. So we have to back everything in, so that's kind of where we're at. But we've got the budget hopefully ready to go, and we'll all be working on that cooperatively, so we'll have a nice team. And that includes obviously Planning Commission, Parks, and Council, as well as our consultants as well. So that's gonna be our bread and butter probably next year. And that's all I have. It's super, super busy. That's all I can say. Everybody
Questions?
wants to do projects.
Questions for Sarah?
I just have a quick question. Has Mound ever received grant money from the Met Council to do any of their other plans?
I don't, no, go ahead,
Yeah,
Rita.
that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
Obviously, I can't go all the way through that.
yeah.
So, but the one thing to be cognizant of is that within the last cycle, between last time and this time, they revamped their grant program to try and better address it. So they actually went through a month period of talking to cities, people like myself, to get perspectives on if they're gonna have a grant program, how should it be structured? Who should be included, why should they be included? And so they revamped it and tried to make things different. And so even if you haven't in the past, part of the reason you are, this time, they look at things like the income of the community, the size of the community, those types of factors. And they also, I know I was one of many people they interviewed when they were trying to structure the grant program, and we had discussion about how much harder redevelopment is than new growth. Like if you're a greenfield development, not so hard. Redevelopment is super hard because you're putting it in places, and so they took a lot of factors into consideration. So there are no strings attached to part of the grant funding.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
That's
Sarah and I
always
already
my
talked about that.
concern when it comes to the Met Council.
So there's 3 levels of the grant. There is no strings attached for the first one. Assuming, I'll look at the language exactly before next week, but assuming that we still are trying to be in conformance and compliance and not totally go rogue. I mean, if you're gonna go rogue, then we should have a conversation about whether you wanna accept it, but if you're just we're gonna meet the requirements, then we should be fine. Then they have 2 other parts. One is that you're deemed complete early, and then there's extra money if you're deemed complete earlier than the regular deadline, and it's only like 3 months early. But that you have to be deemed complete, which means we have to get it in before that, which we should be fine. And then the last one, there are strings attached with that part of it, which is advancing regional goals. And that one has more, it's not very hard strings, but if you are concerned about that, that one says you're gonna do certain things as part of the comp plan process.
Well, we should all be concerned with it, because when there's strings attached, we become obligated to the Met Council. And, you know, I've said many times, the Met Council has done a lot of great things. But if Mound could secede from Hennepin County, I wouldn't hate that.
So the strings attached are making sure that in your process, you're considering things like connectivity, diversity, and economic. So there are strings. It depends on whether you think those things are things that you do or do not want to include or consider anyway. So
And you'll have that all listed out.
yeah, our assumption was we were going to, our recommendation would be, because it's money and you have to do the comp plan, we can't get around it, that you would do the big part. We would aim for the smaller one of getting it done early, there's no guarantees. And then the last one, that one I would just put it out there and you could decide whether or not it was a fit or not a fit. I've had lots of conversations with them. You actually don't have to commit yet. It'd probably be more of like here's where we think we're willing to go with it. And then as you go through the process, you decide, so you don't have to decide anything right away. But
How long does it take you to get to the point in the comp plan where you feel like we're well on our way to?
to doing the comp plan?
Well, no, just to rounding it out and having it ready to go? How long does it take from, I know you're starting now to 2027.
Well, right now, we're just doing community engagement. We're not really starting the comp plan process.
Okay.
We talked about starting right away in January, just because of all the other things that are happening in the city, like we didn't need to add one more thing, but it's good to take advantage of the events, like Spirit of the Lakes and the Mounds Farmer Market. Like, if we start in January, you can't really get out into the community. So we'll start in January. The biggest thing that I think we need to understand from a council and planning commission directive is the land use part of it, because there were discussions at that joint meeting about a direction we wanted to go, and we haven't really decided what direction we wanna go. The rest of it should be fairly okay. I would say for you in Mound, we probably are looking at 6 to 9 months to having a draft.
Okay.
Assuming that you know what your direction is. That's the part we're implementers of your direction, so if we don't know your direction, it'll take longer.
Yeah.
That's
Well, you know, when we amended our
2040 plan.
2024.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
When we amended that, you know, we had to do a little bit of creative writing to get that passed. So are you referring to that portion that we passed? Now we want to relook at that?
Well, when we were at that joint meeting
Yeah,
in February, there were individuals that were interested in revisiting it and those that were not, and we understand that things are changing, and so that's another reason to start in January and get a better sense of what the vision is. And that's the part I can't, like, that is the part you all have to come to an agreement to, and we are the people that figure out how to make it work as best we can.
That's why you're such a professional. You read the room and you know exactly what may be, ticked.
Yeah, well, so I think it's doable. If we know the vision, by the end of next year, we'll have a draft plan that you guys are comfortable with, and we'll have the community provide input, and then we can go. We should be okay, but again, the one part we can't decide is that everybody's on the same path. So we'll find that out next year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have, everyone.
Thank you. We have 2 commission terms expiring at the end of the current calendar year. When do you want an indication from those individuals whether they want to be reappointed?
I reached out to Jesse and Layla earlier today and just wanted to see where our forms are, so that I can share them with Commissioners Baker and Wacker if they have interest in seeking reappointment. And then also if there's been some thought process on notification and advertising, as well as a future council date. 'Cause it changes last year, the council now does the interviews. And whether or not you want to be reappointed, we still solicit applicants to see if somebody else has interest too. But I don't have any additional information yet from them. But what I'll do is probably forward a link to Mr. Baker and Ms. Wacker, and then you can give us a date. We will provide you with a date to come back, and then Jesse and Layla need to work out the details on publication and where that's going, if it's going in the newsletter, if it's going in the Laker, if it's going on the website, as well as a schedule when that comes back, as well as a schedule for the council meeting. So the goal for us is that we want to have the bodies ready to go by their January meeting. So it has to be done either in November or in December, so that you guys are seated at the first January meeting. So that's always the goal.
Okay. Any questions for Sarah? Hearing none, next meeting date, Tuesday, September 1.
September 1.
Any other items to be brought before the commission? Hearing none, Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn, we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.